some teeth that were pulled by a dentist, and that's what you got. Intelligence, folks, brains. So the Paul Pelosi story. Yeah, he screwed up. Yes, there's a lot of weird shit going on there. Yes, they tried using it to blame Republicans for violence against Democrats, which just isn't happening, by the way. It's Democrats calling for violence against Republicans. And we know it. And we've seen enough of it to know better. Still, folks, the Paul Pelosi story. Is it a distraction? It's also being used as, yes, Bonnie, we get closer to NATO interacting with Russia. Now, NATO has no right to be in Ukraine. In fact, I believe the NATO charter specifically prohibits a NATO base being in any country that isn't NATO approved. In other words, you can't be NATO and have a NATO base unless you're approved. And you've gone through the, I would say it would be a time-consuming process. But now they have hurry up and get it done processing to try and make Ukraine a NATO country. Well, ex post facto, NATO doesn't get to go into Ukraine and say, they're now NATO and you're fighting with them, so we're going to come and fight you. Well, I guess that makes sense. If anything, NATO should say, hey, look, you finish your conflict with Russia that you started, Zelensky, and that you started. You finish that, then talk to us. Demonstrate through intelligent thought, competent decision-making, that you can handle being a NATO country. We don't want a bunch of hot-headed LGBTQI jackasses like Zelensky making decisions that will draw the rest of NATO into conflict with other countries. Essentially, why would you have the biggest jackass in the class cause everyone else in the class to have to fight? Literally. Imagine that clown, the class clown in the corner who won't shut his mouth, constantly causes trouble, insults people, and saying, yeah, anyone that messes with my retarded buddy over here, I'll get into the fight too. Well, folks, on the other side is Russia, who's friends with China, who's friends with India, and there's half the world's population right there. We've already lost the population game. Right? Unbelievable. It is a distraction. It's very, very worrisome, Bonnie, and we haven't begun to see the end of this. Because, yes, now the Pentagon is claiming American troops are in Ukraine. Is that a good idea? Is that going to scare Russia? I don't think so, because Russia has nuclear weapons. If the United States military engages Russian troops in Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhzhia,